Well, I said I was going to try and do a video on this as a little quick update over on X. So I'm going to try to actually get this done real quick, right? I try to make it very brief. I do try to be descriptive, so I don't know how brief I can make it, but I'll do the best I can. Cover some information. And once again, man, I just hope that this information just gives another light and helps you as you go along this experience that you're having with cryptocurrencies or trading or whatever it helps you with. So yeah, I'm gonna jump kind of into this data. Should be a link on there that allows for people to hit the StreamYard link over on X, and then you can actually kind of jump in and ask questions. I know when I get to talking, I don't monitor it very well, but I'll give it my best shot. So, but I'm gonna jump into this data just real quick to make this short as possible. So here we are looking at the XRP chart, particularly from my weekly perspective. Y'all know that primarily weekly is where I do most of my, trading and whatnot, right? So start here on this weekly and we'll kind of go from there. But obviously, it's all centered around my 19, information that I've covered many times before. So I won't go back over that too much, but we remember here, this is our breakout, right? And it's just been climbing along this 19, quick little test around the 19, a little pullback, support on its higher EMA, right? Broke back above, got hot, and it's been hot ever since. So we'll zoom in here a little bit. And we'll see some things that can kind of give some perspective. So as we started down this dip, we did see the cross of the 3. We saw a brief little cross of the 9 and quick recovery to let you know this thing had got momentum back to the other upside. When we had our recent dip, if you want to kind of zoom in and get some context here, and that's how I do sometimes, so y'all can get a kind of look behind the curtain. But on this 3, the 3 rejected at the 19, right? The 9 never even kind of really threatened to go down. So this kind of indicates that this was going to be a much briefer dip, right? Than what you have here, because these are momentum accelerators, right? This accelerated you further, and then you had more that accelerated you further, right? So it took a little further dip. Here, much more strength in the market, right? And so you didn't even get your crosses. Once it got back above the 19, right? Boom, it exploded up based on this strength, right? So all of this is kind of chart related that money moves to. And just, getting a quick glance here, you can obviously see that there's nothing but strength here. I've kind of recovered how I interpret some of these EMAs, right? And with the angle on this 3-week EMA, right, this indicating a possible 3-week upward movement in price. And all of your longer EMAs are certainly in an upward angle. And so all the way out to 100 weeks, we got potential nice little stabilization for upward price movement based on current setup, right? So at any trade, any amount of volatility can change all of this, right? But we have to take things for what they are in the moment, for what they are. And this is showing extreme amount of strength over weeks, right? So that we go back here, we saw the 3 start to angle down. We say, oh, we got about particularly 3 weeks of, some volatility with this still kind of having an upward angle. And you got that, right? You got a little more because the 9 almost kind of took a slight downward angle. But it didn't. It was stopped around, I believe it was like 5 or 6, and then it continued up, right? So these do tell you some information that you can glean off of. And right now, the long-term trajectory in this trend, right, is trending upward for a period of time. It's undetermined, but looking very well. So that is good signal. Okay. So I'm going to go, this is a daily chart, by the way. So if I did say weekly initially, this is all on the daily. Let me go over to the actual weekly. I do apologize, right? So here we go. And this has been all strength, right? So bam, breakout. You had a 3-week downward, and you can count them 1, 2, 3, right? That's your 3 angled down. Your 3 angled back up here started your trend upward, and all of these are just for week on week angling up, right? What is kind of important, if you want to zoom here and get some more context on EMAs, all of these EMAs here, your higher EMAs are kind of separating from themselves, creating this kind of pattern of full bullness, right, to the upside, right? Those are the conditions you want to see. Eventually they do play out, right? And so you'll kind of see what happens to them eventually at some point. But just to let you know, like, this thing is just looking extremely bullish by this pattern. Like, these are numerically in order now. So from 100 going down, right, I believe this one currently is like 88, 60, 50, 28, and then 19, 9, and 3. But they're all in order, right? That is the most bullish condition that these lines can be in, and everything just looking great. If I were to zoom out a little further, right, I'm gonna just get some context here quickly. If I was to zoom out further and say like a monthly chart, and someone said, what does the monthly look like? Well, from a monthly perspective, again, we're completely fanned out in order, right? So there's nothing left to cross. You're all bullish. And then these are indicating months. So month on month, it's looking good for 3 months out, 9 months out. You see what I mean? Like this thing is just looking extremely bullish. Now, this is not exact in these time frames, but it does give you a snapshot to go on based on the moment. If you get price action that changes these, and you take those in that moment as well, right? But no, this is extremely bullish, and this is on a longer time frame, which is even more encouraging, as you can expect this to kind of continue with its historical trend. Right, and then we're comparing that historically right now on a month-on-month basis, right? XRP has probably had its highest, opening back here, as well as our current position from month to month ever. Even though price may have not hit some of these higher wick prices back in 18, from a strength perspective, it is the strongest it has ever been, right? And we can see that the growth over time, even though people's narratives may not fit it, it has only been incrementally going up the entire time. So your 19 is higher now than it's ever been. Your 9s and 3s are higher than they ever been. Even your 100 is higher than it has ever been, right? And so this thing is just trending extremely up, and it's a very positive sign for the long-term growth and health of XRP. Now, because this is so parabolic, right, you don't see the crosses and everything that are contributing to this momentum. And I suspect that part of this momentum is really being originated, right, from the Bitcoin pair. Also, kind of take note here. Here's some of my expectations as far as like when this thing might begin to cool off. It's not set in stone because it's starting to look like we may have some longer end to this, but I'll have to kind of run some numbers before I move my positions here, is what my expectations are, and see if they kind of fit. But right now, yeah, this is just kind of one of my things I put together from analyzing the charts and grabbing time best I could. So if you kind of want to take a peek over here, late March, April, kind of be on the aware. And if things change, I'll definitely update it. Let's go over here and grab this other pair. I don't even see it on here. So let me see. XRP, BTC. So I'm going to go to the XRP Bitcoin pair, obviously here, because I believe this is what is causing all of the price action that we're seeing right now. So again, trading and TA is a lot of kind of like people understanding things a similar way and then reacting upon that similar information. So, a lot of people are indeed traders in these markets. And so they kind of respond to these same kind of things in similar ways. And that's why they kind of end up playing out the way that they play out. So this is here on a monthly chart, since I'm starting on the monthly, and I'll go backwards, but we can see broke out here above the 19. All of these crosses, right, are continuing to add momentum going up to its 100, which was acting as a slight little resistance. And then bam, this thing can completely get back on the bullish side, not against the dollar, but against Bitcoin, right? And so we're at that moment right now where we're getting back above its 100 average, which is going into a kind of very good bullish environment for XRP against Bitcoin, right, which is very significant. So if these crosses continue, right, we should push past this 100. Eventually, we definitely want that 3 to cross over the 100, because ideally, in order for XR to be completely bullish to Bitcoin, this 19 needs to cross back over this 100. So we see how far we have to go, right, before this thing could at any point reject against Bitcoin and set some new low or something, right? So be cautious. But if this thing continues to get these crosses, and then your 9 starts to cross these higher EMAs, 19 crosses, and we get back above this 100, that is kind of like our full bull moment we saw against the dollar that led to 40-50 cents to $2.50 type of momentum, right? So this is what we're staring in the face right now, and this is why XRP is continuing to run, because it's continuing to get these crosses against Bitcoin, and people are making profits. This thing keeps walking up this known cross environment where it's getting strength against Bitcoin. So it is what it is, right? And we could see this could continue to push XRP against the dollar as well as XRP against Bitcoin up for quite some time here as we continue to make it through these resistances and get into the full counter environment. So we look like we have time and a lot of growth room to go, which puts a nice little expectations on, you know, future growth here. So, you know, just kind of giving a brief little look over here, what we could potentially expect. Like, of course, this would be huge, right? Back around 8,000, 9,000 Satoshis. But even if we get around here, you know, around our 19 average of about 77, you know, or 72.28, that would be huge, right? I mean, and particularly with Bitcoin now sitting at, you know, ranging around the 100,000, I suspect would be there or not at that time. So to get that amount of Satoshis per XRP is just huge. And y'all can run your own numbers and see what that equates to. But this is the potential of getting this cross back here. But then we're on a monthly. So I'm going to drop back down to a weekly. And we'll get some good news, right? So what do we got down on the weekly? On the weekly, we see that we received these important crosses, which again, I started out on a monthly, but the weekly is where I do most of my action. So giving you a glimpse of why XRP is getting so strong. Look at this parabolic movement as it made it back over that 100, as I was indicating over there on the monthly, that you can expect to see over on that chart as this thing continues, right? This got back over that 100 as I was talking about on the monthly, and bam, right? And then you got this 9 cross that kept this thing going, and then you got the most important cross, the 19, that kept this thing going, right? So right now we're having a whole lot of momentum carry us to higher prices because we got all these crosses left. So we can see one here peaking, right? That's giving us these green candles. It's continuing the momentum. And if we zoom in further, we see this red line, right, is crossing this. This was a higher EMA, so lower number over higher number. It's giving more momentum. The red will go on to cross blue and eventually white. So all this is a lot of potential momentum still left, including this last EMA, which would eventually have to cross over its the white line as well as this line. So when all these can get in numerical order, like I showed earlier, from lowest to highest EMA with the 100 being at the bottom, then you're kind of in that full environment of bullish conditions, and I expect this to continue to play out. And like I said, that puts us at a lot of top end for XRP price action as we continue those crosses out. But most importantly, we finally got it here, much less getting all of this successful completion afterwards. So this thing is showing extreme amount of strength, and I like to zoom out at this point in time and show you why it's so important, because essentially going back to, and I've been in XRP since 2017, right? So eventually going back to this date and time here, which was around May of 19, right? It made that cross 19 over 100 and got bearish, right? It's just falling ever since, right? So we're talking about a very long time ago that this thing lost this 19, and for many different reasons. But it has not successfully recovered since then, even during our bull runs that happened afterwards, right? Because this is your bull run here that went on after the lawsuit, right? We come over here, we got with the lawsuit cases and all these kind of things, it gave you some potential momentum, right? And the start of this bull run, but all of this kind of ends, and boom, we get this moment where it's the first time crossing back since 2019, and first time actually crossing, right, in the upward momentum since April of 17. So again, this was a cross down the last time it was above, but that we could see here that this was already in a falling environment. So the last time we've actually had a successful cross up goes all the way back to this point back in April or so of 17. So this hasn't happened since then in its entirety of XRP, which indicates the significance that this potential lies here and moving back up in these areas, and how much that would mean to the price action. So this is one of the most important things that I wanted to share, is how this thing is responding to the Bitcoin chart, because I know a lot of people are over there watching the dollar chart. But yeah, this is the first time we've received this cross, and it is extremely bullish in this current period of time, continuing to respond to that. So just wanted y'all all to be encouraged by the data, make your own decisions, of course, but continue to follow along with this and don't jump too early. Don't let other people persuade you with other narratives that they can't explain. The way that I try to add some context to this stuff that, hopefully helps, right? So let me see. I do want to cover one other little information here. I hate switching pages during this thing, but let me just share this quickly. Oh man, my whole thing. Oh no, I stopped. So present. Okay, so you should be looking at this screen here. Yes, this is the make sure I'm over here in the right tab. No, this tab. So scroll here and change this to analysis. This is crypto.com, cryptocompare.com, excuse me. You hit this analysis tab, and I do a lot of volume tracking, so I want to make sure I share this with y'all because I've often mentioned it, and it certainly helps me a lot kind of getting context of what's going on in the XRP market. So first thing you want to pay attention to, and this is denominated in XRP, that's 2 billion XRP in total volume by currency across all these markets that they're getting API information from, right? So at this 2 billion mark, that is kind of in the range of saying we're in a kind of higher environment of volume, but it's people are, who haven't experienced know that like in extreme bullish environments, this will go 10, 20, 30, you know what I mean, and upwards. So just to give some context to this number, but 2 is certainly good. And I'll show another page, hopefully, that will show you some context of where 2 is relative to the market. And you can see how the volumes are stacking up and the strength is stacking up for XRP. But here's the important thing that I want to just quickly cover here. Tether in all of the other assets is the number one driver, usually at about 75, 80% or more in total volumes. So they completely dominate almost all of the other assets. There are some exceptions. I don't want to just kind of cover them because it's not the point here. But for most of these assets, including Bitcoin, they are extremely high. And after Bitcoin in most of these other markets, including Bitcoin, it kind of goes Tether, right? After Tether, it will go USD, USDC, FDUSD, and just dollar derivatives almost entirely, right? Before it gets into any small percentage of actual national currencies as inflows. And I just want y'all to kind of understand that because it's very important. It's about the distribution of these assets and how this stuff kind of plays out, at least as I've kind of watched, right? So we know how much Korea has been contributing to the XRP market, and we see this kind of consistent 20% of buying coming out of Korea, which is indicative of exactly what we've always known. So of course they are kind of carrying the market outside of this 45% of Tether volume that's across these exchanges that deal with Tether. Right. But I kind of separate this in. This is more of a trader's environment type. These national currency people are people kind of buying, holding, and using it for hedging instruments, et cetera, et cetera. Not entirely, but just to make the point. Then you have here, third place is a very strong 17%. Well, this 17% used to be around 8% for the dollar. So there has been an increase in dollar as a percentage of XRP volume by currency. And recently I've seen this spike over Korea quite a few days over the last week. So there's an increase in the dollar denominated buys into XRP recently. And I'm tracking that kind of closely as we move forward. But that is very significant. RLUSD popped into the top 10 a couple of days, but then quickly kind of fell back. It was only one exchange that was reporting it. I believe it was bullish at the time, if I remember. But yes, other than that, Europe's coming in 1.62 of total percent, which is very strong for Europe, particularly at these volumes. Japan has been exceeding even Europe and I believe even FDSUSD recently, but their volumes are stronger than normal. Bitcoin's about 135, which is really on average for Bitcoin, believe it or not. I've seen it spike up to as high as 3. So I'll keep a watch on that because I suspect that if it popped up to 3 now, it will probably be in a sellish environment where we're experiencing a dip, right? And I'll be looking for that. Interesting point here, Turkey, almost always in the top 10, right? And so you have to put some context to that and ask yourself why. But again, it's one of these other inflationary environments where I think it's playing a role. Thailand, top 10 today. I suspect most of that is actually some type of utility volume, because Ripple did play a big role in getting some Thailand clients on, and we can kind of just go down to this: your East volume, your South Africa volume, where there's some good clients that work with Zago and others. I suspect they're driving most of that volume. Mexico, they kind of will pop up a little higher based on their utility volume, which is most of that. Australia coming in 15, and so on and so on and so on, right? So important thing is here, we're going to keep watch on this dollar. It's good when dollar increases, right? Because the dollar does kind of have a stronger impact than, say, Korea, but Korea is just leading from, as many participants that are participating over there, I guess. But yeah, it's encouraging that this dollar is playing a bigger role in some context, right? It's also, kind of risky in my context too, but we have to take it for what it is. But I wanted to make sure I share that information with you all. I guess I could show you the overall volume tab just quickly if I can, and I'll close this out. Share screen. So should be looking at the total volume screen now. Yep. Let's go back over there. So if you come over here, if you look at this on your laptop or PC or something, right, you do get some interesting information. It doesn't show up on your phones. So you can get this direct volume tab. This direct volume tab, it's hard to kind of explain because I can't even wrap my head around it entirely. But one of the ways that I like to view it is kind of like giving you a snapshot of the inflows that are currently kind of going on versus just like total volume, right? So it kind of sifts it down a little bit. And that's why they're much lower, but nonetheless, good information. I don't know. Well, there we go. So let's go over here. If I click it on direct and we compare it across the market, let's see. This thing moves slow. There we go. So Bitcoin's at about 6 billion, Ethereum about almost 4 billion, your Tether 1 billion, bam, XRP at about 852. So we see, significantly lower than Bitcoin, almost, significantly lower than Ethereum, right? Almost equaling Tether volumes in this regard, right? But much higher than Solana and all these other chains as far as the direct volume inflows. Hedera is kind of doing a lot better here recently, so I have to give him their card for as far as direct volume. Of course, Stellar always kind of tracks and so on. Then if you look over here in context of total volume, and again, these numbers will be much different than the ones you'll see over on CoinMarketCap, but I view them as being much more accurate because they do a better job at kind of like aggregating this down to a more realistic number. So please take a look at that. Just a moment here. All right, but essentially the point that I just want to close in saying is you can see here 45 billion for Bitcoin, 25 for Ethereum. We're sitting around 7, almost double what Ethereum is doing. If we can get to that 8-ish mark, and much higher than most of these other coins. So the strength of the market is showing here because we've ascended back to what used to be kind of the norm, right? XRP almost be running around this like 18 billion to Ethereum's 24, right? And some we passed even Ethereum, right? And so the market seems like it's normalizing with a lot of this headwind pass for XRP and this adoption for growth, utility, and other reasons. And so it's all very positive. But here you can see from a volume standpoint, we're tracking right on where we want to be and maintaining the, number 3 most purchased crypto in the entire market. It should be, if not higher. So I'm probably going to shut it down about right there. I hope I covered most of this information. Hold on. I do see somebody trying to make it in. So let me add them to the stage. Welcome. You hear me?
Yo, Pastor?
Yeah, man, that's Aussie voice. I recognize it anywhere. How's it going?
Hey, good, mate. You?
Oh, man, I'm wonderful, man. I just wanted to cover some of this TA type information over here that I, have been doing for a long time. So I had a little extra time and I, dropped it over here so people could.
I've only just caught it. I saw your link to that StreamYard thing, and I've never come in here before. So, yeah, good to catch you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I could use this for anything, man. So at the end of the day, yeah, of course I could definitely cover some of the information with code and obey and meth and all the good things that we got going on with the meme coin action and all of that. So yeah, it's a tool that I use, of course, but anytime. But yeah, it's been great, man.
Sweet as. So you just wrapping up, were you?
Yeah, I pretty much covered it, man. I went over XRP and I went over XRP to Bitcoin, went over and showed some of the volume informations and XRP is just looking extremely bullish. So, I wanted people to kind of be encouraged by the market information as it is right now. And then of course, if anything changes, right, I'll keep updating them, but it's very important for them to see some context of how bullish this thing really is. And so, yeah, there goes the old Colt XRP chart right there. So yeah.
All right, good stuff. Well, look, I'll try and catch it a bit closer to the start next time, and no doubt I'll speak to you in one of the spaces at some point today.
No doubt. Yeah, I'll probably jump back over there in just a few. So I wanted to make sure I just covered this, man, because a lot of people, hit me up and have really helped themselves with this, and I want to make sure I continue to update them with the information. So
good on you, Kester.
All right, man. Thank you, brother.
Gotcha.
All right. Yeah. So I'll get ready to go ahead and wrap this down. I did see some little comments over in the comments section. So King of Wands, I definitely see you. Thank you. Thank you for coming over and checking it out. Again, I just hope the information helps y'all, man. I try to deliver this in a different way where it's dumbed down and I'm not trying to gobble up a whole bunch of impressive this, that, and the third, right? That may be confusing people. I simplify to just simply say, these are the easy ways that you can kind of know where you're at in this market without all the mumbo jumbo, and hope that it helps you in a way that you can make money and change your life in a positive way. So I'm always over on X, as most people know. My DMs stay open. If y'all have any questions or anything, man, always come in. Definitely been giving away a lot of coat and meth. It's just part of what we do to share what we're doing. So if you're interested in getting some free money or a free asset or free NFT or free meme or any of those things that are floating around over there on that side, come on over to X, join some of the spaces, and man, we'll love to continue to sharing, what has been shared with us. So yep, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down in the traditional way. And most of y'all should know what that is by now, right? So it's 4L, right? And that is live love, love life, right? And there's an absolute reason that love is twice. So y'all have a great day.